I'm going to let you in on a secret of being a cantor. We don't think just about the words we sing, but about every single aspect of what happens in this room. I tell B'nai Mitzvah families that I'm their stage manager, because in some ways I am. I'm davening through the liturgy while also thinking about the bar mitzvah kid and their role and which Torah to take out, and is this tune working and where do I need to stand, etc. I'm thinking about the ritual as an entire entity, not just moment by moment. Because of this, often the last thing I think about is my voice and what I'm singing. A few years ago, I remember being on a bima, doing that mental checklist of all these things, when a teacher of mine stands next to me, turns his mic off, and says, "Arielle, just sing," in that tone. And I almost laughed on the bima as I was singing. I said, I am singing, I thought. But he meant that you're thinking about everything else except the most important part. So just sing, and the rest will fall into place. After a few months of this same exact advice, it eventually became my motto. So, when I walk onto this very bima, I still always think, "Arielle, just sing." And I say this because of how relevant this week's parsha is to my life, and I hope to all of yours. I just read Shira, the Song of the Sea. This is the moment after the Israelites escape under the hands of the Egyptians, cross the Red Sea, and become a free nation. While there's so much that can be said about this parsha, my favorite teaching is, of course, about the song itself. The song begins with Moses saying, "Ashira, I will sing to God, for God has triumphed gloriously." Towards the end of the song, after Miriam took the timbrels and started to dance, she says, "Shiru, sing to God, all of us." My understanding of this song is that once the Israelites were saved, they were so relieved that the only thing they could do was sing. Just sing. I would also like to point out that Miriam brought drums on her trip. Like, we couldn't be troubled to finish baking the bread, and you brought a drum. But okay, Miriam knew, of course she knew, that with all of the to-do lists, singing and celebrating were as important as the logistics. Miriam uses a command verb to say sing, as if to say a release of emotion through their bodies. This was the way that the Israelites could process their shock and relief, and this is the way that we should imagine our intention in this room: to praise God for the miracles and gifts we have been given, to not yet worry about what is to come, or the long to-do list in front of you, but just to be grateful in the moment. So just sing. In light of this, I wanted to talk about something a little bit more practical. I am new to this bima, and I come with a lot of my own musical baggage. There are certain tunes that I like or don't like. My nusach is a little different, and I choose melodies that you aren't quite used to. I know this, and that's okay. Every clergy who is new to a bima faces the same challenges. But I want to challenge you to think a little differently. Think about my melodies for the Torah service and Musaf that are unfamiliar. While you're hoping for your traditional melodies, I'm hoping to introduce you to my own traditional melodies. Traditional is relative, and anyone who has experience in different Jewish communities around the world knows this. Traditional is a short way of saying the way it's always been done. But that's not exactly how Jewish music and liturgy work. Jewish music has always been based on the popular music surrounding a specific Jewish community. That's why American Jewish music sounds different than that of Germany, England, Russia, etc. It has changed so much over time, and different communities have latched on to certain tunes and claimed them as their own. It doesn't make it right or wrong. It just means that some are more familiar to us than others. My goal is to introduce you to other melodies while keeping the old ones, of course. Not because it's better, but because the words we say can be expressed with different kinds of intention. Think about Ein Kamocha, which ironically I didn't even sing this morning, the beginning of the Torah service. We begin the service with these words in order to express the greatness of God by saying, "There's no one like you, Ein Kamocha." I decided that I love the Zolzer version, which is the one that I often sing, because it captures the grand feeling I want in this moment. Or take Sim Shalom. I chose to introduce to you a new melody because I thought it was beautiful, a beautiful one, and one that would capture the essence of what we're actually saying. But in addition to that, I'm aware of the incredible gift of Nusach that we pass down generations. The specific Nusach I use for the Musaf Kedusha might be unfamiliar to you, but I want to adhere to the rules that cantors before me created. Major mode for Kibodo, minor for Mimkomo, etc. There are certain rules we follow because they bring life to the words we say. I want us to deviate from the expectation we've always had when entering a prayer space. I want us to think of our music as a release and a way to express the words of our ancestors. I want us to learn new music together and use it as a tool to build community. I want you to sing along with me, even and especially when you don't know the words, and use the music to guide you through. I want us to reject the notion of that's how it's always been done and start using the phrase, let's try it. So all in all, just sing. And with that, I actually want to introduce you to a few new melodies this morning. One I'm going to sing right now, and a few will be in our Musaf Amidah. And the first melody I'm going to introduce you to is actually a new version of Shirat Hayam. If you saw my heartbeat, I put the link in there. It's a new melody that was written by a member of the Columbia University Jewish a cappella group, Pizmon. And there are very few melodies written for Shirat Hayam. Because what I read, it's so beautiful, and it's one of the oldest melodies that we have. We consider it Sinai, as if it came from Sinai. But creating new melodies provides us the opportunity to read the words a little bit differently. So I know you don't know this melody, and I'm giving you the opportunity to hear these words in a different way. As I hope that when I do Musaf afterwards, that you will also hear these new melodies. You'll know that you don't know them, but try to understand those words in a different way, have a little bit of a different intention. So sit back, I'm going to sing to you a new Shirat Hayam. It goes like this. Az yashir Moshe uvenei Yisrael et hashira hazot l'Adonai vayomru leimor ashir al Adonai ki ga'o ga'a sus verochvo ramavayam ashir al Adonai ki ga'o ga'a sus verochvo ramavayam ramavayam ozi וזמרתיה ויהי לישועה עוזי וזמרתיה ויהי לישועה זה אלי וענווהו אלוהי אבי והרוממנו אשיר על אדוני כי גאו גאה סוס ורוכבו רמה וים אשיר על אדוני כי גאו גאה סוס ורוכבו רמה וים רמה וים עוזי וזמרתיה ויהי לישועה עוזי וזמרת ויהי לישועה, לישועה.